I stood in my mother's living room holding a real estate contract with my sister's signature on it, realizing she'd just sold the one place that was supposed to be mine, and Mom had helped her do it. The confrontation. The papers were still warm from the printer when Vanessa slid them across Mom's kitchen table toward me. August sunlight came through the window behind her, turning her blonde highlights into a halo she absolutely didn't deserve. "We're going tomorrow, Mom," she said, not even looking at me. "I've sold your beach house." I remember the exact pattern of condensation on my iced tea glass. I remember the smell of Mom's vanilla candle. I remember thinking, very clearly, this is the moment. This is when everything changes. "What are you talking about?" My voice came out wrong, too high, too tight. Vanessa finally looked at me then. That smile. God, that smile I'd seen 1,000 times growing up. The one that said I already won and you just don't know it yet. "The Rehoboth property," she said slowly, like I was stupid. "The closing is tomorrow at 10. Mom and I have been working on this for months." I looked at my mother. She was 73 years old, sitting in her favorite chair, wearing the cardigan I'd bought her for Christmas. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mom," I said. "It's for the best, Claire," she said quietly. "Vanessa explained everything. The property taxes are too high, and with the new roof it needs." "That's my house." I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the tile. "Dad left that house to me. It's in his will, you both know that." "Actually," Vanessa said, pulling out another paper, "it's in Mom's name. Dad left it to her, and she's been letting you use it all these years, out of kindness." The room tilted. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. Let me tell you how I got here. Backstory, who I am. My name is Claire Dennison. I'm 54 years old, and I've spent most of my life being the responsible one, the dependable daughter, the one who showed up. I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in a split-level house with beige carpeting and a finished basement where Dad kept his model trains. Vanessa is 3 years younger than me, born beautiful, born charming, born with the kind of confidence that made rooms rearrange themselves around her. I was the one who studied. She was the one who sparkled. I got A's and worked summers at the public library. She got B's and worked summers getting tan at the community pool, where boys orbited her like satellites. Mom never said it out loud, but I felt it in every interaction. Vanessa was the special one. I was just Claire, reliable Claire, sensible Claire, Claire who didn't need as much attention because she was fine on her own. When I was 17 and Vanessa was 14, Dad took me aside one Saturday morning. We were in his garage, and he was organizing his toolbox, the way he did when he needed to think. "Claire Bear," he said, "that's what he called me. You know I love you both the same, right?" "Sure, Dad." "But you and I were similar. We don't need the spotlight." He handed me a screwdriver to hold. "Your sister, she's like your mother. They need more. They take up more space. But that doesn't mean they're worth more. You understand?" I nodded, though I'm not sure I did understand. Not then. "I'm leaving you something," he continued. "The beach house in Rehoboth. That's going to be yours someday, just yours, a place where you can breathe." We'd bought the beach house when I was 12, a small, weathered cottage 4 blocks from the ocean, with a screened-in porch and a yellow kitchen. Dad and I would go there together sometimes, just the two of us, when Mom and Vanessa wanted to stay home and go shopping. Those were my favorite days. The sound of the ocean, the smell of Old Bay seasoning and sunscreen, Dad teaching me to body surf, walking the boardwalk at dusk, splitting a bucket of Thrasher's fries. "That house is your safe place," he told me, "and it always will be." He died when I was 28. Heart attack, sudden, he was 61. At the funeral, Mom held Vanessa while she sobbed beautifully into her black dress. I stood to the side, dry-eyed and efficient, making sure people signed the guest book, accepting casseroles, answering questions about flowers. Later, after the will reading, Mom confirmed it. The beach house was mine. Dad had left it to her in trust for me, with instructions that it would transfer to my name when she passed, or sooner if she chose. "He wanted you to have your own place," Mom said. He always worried about you. Worried? I asked. That you'd spend your whole life taking care of everyone else, she said. He wanted you to have somewhere that was just yours. For 26 years, that house was my sanctuary. The life I built. I got married at 30 to a man named Richard. He was an accountant. Steady. Kind. We bought a house in Wilmington, Delaware, a 3-bedroom colonial with a 2-car garage and a mortgage we could actually afford. We didn't have children, not by choice exactly, it just didn't happen. We tried for a few years, saw some specialists, had some painful conversations. Eventually, we stopped trying. Richard said he was fine either way. I think I was too. We both worked full-time. I was an administrative director at a regional hospital, the person who made sure the whole operation ran smoothly, even though no one really knew what I did. Richard handled taxes for small businesses. We were comfortable, not rich, but stable. We took reasonable vacations. We saved for retirement. We hosted Thanksgiving every few years because I was good at organizing things. The beach house was my escape. 3 or 4 weekends a year, sometimes a week in July, I'd drive down to Rehoboth by myself. Richard didn't love the beach. The sun bothered him. The sand got everywhere, so he usually stayed home. I'd spend those days reading on the porch, walking the beach at dawn, eating boardwalk pizza for dinner. I'd repaint the shutters. I'd replace the porch screens. I'd sit in Dad's old chair and feel, for just a little while, like someone's priority. Vanessa, meanwhile, had a different life. She married young, 22, to a real estate developer named Chad. They had 2 kids, Brittany and Blake. They lived in a McMansion in Moorestown with a 3-car garage, a home theater, and a kitchen with 2 dishwashers. Chad's business went through ups and downs. There were years when they were flying to Turks and Caicos, and years when Vanessa would call Mom crying about money. Mom would help, always. When Brittany wanted to go to Georgetown, there wasn't enough saved. Mom helped. When Blake needed rehab at 21, a ski accident led to pain pills led to worse things. Mom helped. When Chad's business went bankrupt during the 2008 recession and they almost lost the house, Mom helped. I helped too. I always did. I co-signed a loan once. I paid for Brittany's dental surgery another time. I sent checks for birthdays and Christmases, always generous, always hoping it would matter. It never seemed to. Meanwhile, I kept the beach house maintained. I paid the property taxes every year out of my own pocket, $4,800 annually, rising steadily. I paid for the new hot water heater in 2015. I paid for the termite treatment in 2018. I paid to have the deck rebuilt in 2021. Mom never asked me to, but it was mine, right? That's what Dad wanted, so I took care of it. The unraveling BGNS. Richard died 2 years ago, stroke. He was 61. Same age Dad was. The grief was strange and quiet. We'd been married for 24 years, but somewhere along the way, we'd become roommates more than soulmates. Still, losing him felt like losing gravity. I didn't know which way was up anymore. I took a leave of absence from work. I spent a month at the beach house, painting the kitchen yellow again, the way it used to be. I cried at odd times while folding laundry, while watching the sunset, while hearing a specific song in the grocery store. Mom and Vanessa came to visit once. They stayed 3 hours. Vanessa spent most of it on her phone. Mom kept suggesting I should think about selling this place and moving closer to family. "This is my home," I said. "It's a lot of house for one person," Mom replied. I let it go. After Richard died, I discovered our finances were not what I thought. He'd made some bad investments. There were debts I didn't know about. The life insurance barely covered the funeral and the outstanding credit cards. I had to sell our house in Wilmington. I moved into a small apartment, 2 bedrooms, $1,400 a month. I went back to work. I started over. The beach house became even more important. It was the only thing I had left that was truly mine. Last November, I started thinking seriously about retiring early. I was 53. I was tired. The hospital had gone through 3 restructures in 5 years, and my job had become managing crises instead of operations. I mentioned to Mom that I was thinking of moving to Rehoboth full-time. "That's a big decision," she said carefully. "It's my house," I said, "and I'm ready." "You should talk to Vanessa first." "Why?" "Just talk to her." I should have known then. I should have felt it. The trap. In January, Vanessa invited me to lunch. We met at a Panera near her house, her choice. She ordered a salad and a green tea. I got soup and half a sandwich, feeling immediately judged for the bread. "So Mom told me you're thinking about Rehoboth," she said. "Yeah, I'm ready for a change." "That's great, Claire, really great," she smiled. "But I wanted to talk to you about something." Here it comes, I thought. "Mom's getting older," Vanessa continued. "And her finances are complicated. The house in Cherry Hill needs work. The roof, the HVAC, she's on a fixed income." "I know." "So Chad and I have been helping her. A lot, like a lot. I waited. And we were thinking, since you're planning to live in Rehoboth full-time anyway, maybe it makes sense to put the house officially in your name now. You know, for estate planning purposes. Avoid probate later." My heart jumped. "Really?" "Yeah, Mom's lawyer is drafting the paperwork. We just wanted to make sure you were okay with it." "Of course I'm okay with it," I said. "Dad wanted me to have it. This is great." Vanessa reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm really happy for you, Claire. You deserve something good." I actually teared up. 2 weeks later, I met Mom and Vanessa at the lawyer's office. I signed papers, lots of papers. The lawyer explained things about transfer taxes and estate exemptions and title insurance. I nodded and signed. "Congratulations," the lawyer said. "You're officially the owner." I took Mom and Vanessa to dinner afterward. I paid. I was so happy. The discovery. I didn't hear much from either of them for a few months. That wasn't unusual. We'd never been a close family, exactly. Holidays and birthdays, mostly. In May, I got a call from Mom. "Claire, honey, I need to ask you something." "Sure, what's up?" "Would you be willing to take out a small equity loan on the beach house? Just $30,000. To help Vanessa and Chad. They're in a tough spot." My stomach dropped. "What?" "Blake is having some legal trouble. Nothing serious, but they need a lawyer. A good one. And with Brittany's wedding coming up." "Mom, I can't take out a loan on my house for Vanessa's kids." Silence. "It's just that Vanessa has done so much for me," Mom said slowly. "And you've always been so independent. I didn't think you'd mind helping your sister." "I've been helping," I said, "for years." "Not like Vanessa has." The words hit like a slap. "What does that mean?" "Nothing. Forget I asked." She hung up. I sat in my apartment, hands shaking. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. I called the lawyer's office. I asked for copies of the documents I'd signed in February. They emailed them over. I read them 3 times. Then I read them again. The beach house wasn't in my name. It was in Vanessa's. The documents I'd signed, the ones the lawyer explained so carefully while I nodded, transferred the property from Mom's trust into Vanessa's ownership. I'd signed as a witness. Not as a recipient. Not as the owner. As a witness to my own dispossession. I couldn't breathe. I sat on my apartment floor with my laptop open, reading the same paragraph over and over. "Hereby transfers all right, title, and interest in the property located at 247 Ocean Terrace, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, to Vanessa M. Patterson, daughter of the grantor." I called Mom. No answer. I called Vanessa. No answer. I drove to Mom's house. She wouldn't open the door. "Mom, I know you're in there." "Not now, Claire. You gave Vanessa my house." Silence. "Dad left that to me. You know he did." "Your father left me the house," Mom said through the door, "and I can do what I want with it." "He left it to you for me." "That's not what the will says." I stood on her front porch, the same porch where I'd taken prom pictures, where I'd waited for the school bus, where I'd said goodbye when I left for college. I stood there and realized my mother had helped my sister steal my inheritance. And she didn't care. The confrontation, full scene. That brings us back to where I started. August, 3 months after I discovered the truth. 3 months of lawyers telling me I didn't have a case. 3 months of Vanessa ignoring my calls. 3 months of Mom pretending nothing was wrong. Until the day Vanessa slid those papers across the table. "We're going tomorrow, Mom. I've sold your beach house." I stared at the contract. $685,000. A couple from Northern Virginia, closing tomorrow. "You can't sell it," I said. "It's mine," Vanessa replied. "Legally, completely." "Dad wanted me to have that house." "Dad's dead." She said it so casually, like it was nothing. "And Mom decided I needed it more." I looked at my mother again. "Is that true?" She twisted her hands in her lap. "Vanessa has children. Grandchildren, you don't. It made sense. So I don't deserve it because I couldn't have kids." "That's not what I said." "Then what are you saying?" "I'm saying Vanessa needed help, and you didn't." "I've needed help," my voice cracked. "Richard died, I lost my house, I've been barely holding on." "You've been fine," Mom interrupted. "You always are." There it was, the truth I'd always known but never heard out loud. I was fine. I was always fine. I didn't need love or support or fairness because I was strong enough to survive without it. "What are you going to do with the money?" I asked Vanessa. She shrugged. "Pay off some debt, put some toward Brittany's wedding. Maybe take a vacation, we've been under a lot of stress." "I paid the property taxes on that house for 26 years, I said quietly. "I paid for repairs, I maintained it, I made it valuable." "And we appreciate that," Vanessa said. "Really." "Do I get anything? Anything at all?" She glanced at Mom. "We thought maybe $10,000 for your trouble." "For my trouble." I stood up, I walked out, I drove home, I didn't cry. I was done crying. The plan. Here's what I learned in the weeks that followed. Mom had been telling Vanessa for years that I didn't need the beach house, that I was too independent, too self-sufficient, that I'd be fine with or without it. She'd also been telling Vanessa that I'd been taking advantage of the property, using it without contributing to Mom's expenses. This was a lie. I'd sent Mom money multiple times over the years. I'd paid for her medications. I'd bought her a new refrigerator. I'd covered her homeowner's insurance deductible when the basement flooded. But Vanessa didn't know that, or didn't care. I also learned something else. Mom's finances weren't complicated at all. She had $340,000 in savings. She had a pension from Dad's union. She had Social Security. She owned her house outright. She didn't need Vanessa's help. She just liked Vanessa's attention. Every time Vanessa helped her, Mom got visits, phone calls, gratitude. She got to feel important, needed. I didn't make her feel that way. I was too independent, too fine. So she chose the daughter who made her feel valuable. And I was the price. The revenge, slow and intelligent. I didn't do anything dramatic. I didn't scream or break things or send nasty emails. I did something much more effective. I documented everything. Every text message where Mom asked me for money, every Venmo transfer, every receipt for repairs on the beach house, every property tax payment. I also got copies of Dad's will. The original one, drafted in 1997, that explicitly stated his intention for me to inherit the beach house. There was a letter, too, attached to an old copy in Dad's handwriting. "I'm leaving the Rehoboth house to Claire because she understands what it means to have a place that's just yours. Vanessa will have plenty. Claire deserves something, too." I took all of this to a different lawyer, a better one. "Do I have a case?" I asked. He read everything, slowly, then he looked up. "You might," he said, "if we can prove your mother breached her fiduciary duty as trustee. If we can prove you relied on her promise and made financial decisions based on that reliance. If we can prove your sister knew about your father's true intentions. And then what? Then we can sue for a portion of the sale proceeds. Maybe half, maybe more. How much will it cost? A lot, tens of thousands, and it'll take years. I nodded. Do it. But that wasn't the real revenge. The real revenge was much simpler. The reckoning. Vanessa's daughter, Brittany, got engaged in September. The wedding was planned for June, a big, expensive affair at a country club. Brittany and I had always gotten along okay, not close, but friendly. I was the aunt who sent birthday checks and asked about school. In October, Brittany called me. "Aunt Claire, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Mom said you and Grandma had a fight about the beach house. Is that true?" I paused. "Did she tell you what happened?" "She said Grandma gave her the house, and you were upset because you thought you deserved it more." "That's one version," I said carefully. "What's the other version?" So I told her everything. I sent her Dad's letter. I sent her the property tax receipts. I sent her the timeline. "Oh my God," Brittany whispered. "I'm not telling you this to make you hate your mom," I said. "I'm telling you because you asked, and because you deserve to know the truth." She was quiet for a long time. "I'm so sorry, Aunt Claire." "It's not your fault." "But I knew the money for my wedding was coming from somewhere. I didn't ask questions." "You didn't do anything wrong." But she had heard me, and she was a good kid, a fair kid. 2 weeks later, Vanessa called me furious. "What did you say to Brittany?" "The truth. She's refusing to let me pay for the wedding. She says it's blood money. Do you know how embarrassing this is?" "I didn't tell her to do that." "You poisoned her against me." "I answered her questions," I said calmly. "Something you've never done." She hung up. The wedding was scaled back significantly. Brittany paid for most of it herself with help from Chad's parents. It was smaller, simpler, still beautiful. I was invited. Vanessa barely spoke to me. Mom didn't come, she said she was too tired. Brittany hugged me at the reception. "Thank you for being honest with me," she whispered. "I'm trying to be different than they are." That moment mattered more than any lawsuit. The final twist. The legal case took 18 months. In the end, we settled. Vanessa agreed to pay me $240,000, roughly a third of the sale price after closing costs. It wasn't half, it wasn't everything, but it was something. More importantly, the process forced everything into the open. Depositions, documents, testimony. Mom had to admit, under oath, that Dad wanted me to have the house. Vanessa had to admit she knew that. They had to admit they'd misled me, deceived me, taken something that wasn't theirs to take. The family fractured, completely. Blake stopped speaking to Vanessa after he found out. She'd used money from the house sale to pay off her debt instead of his legal bills, like she'd promised. Chad filed for divorce 6 months later. Turned out the financial stress, and the lawsuit had revealed a lot of other problems in their marriage. Mom called me once about a year ago. She was crying. "I don't understand why you had to make such a big deal about this," she said. "It's torn the family apart." "I didn't tear it apart," I said. "You did, when you chose Vanessa over me, when you chose her comfort over my inheritance. When you decided I didn't deserve what Dad wanted me to have. I thought I was doing the right thing." "No," I said. "You thought you were doing the easy thing." She hasn't called since. Where I am now. I'm 54 years old. I live alone in my apartment in Wilmington. I have a job I'm good at, even if it's exhausting. I have a savings account that's slowly rebuilding. I don't have the beach house. I'll never have it back. But I have something more important. I have my voice. For 50 years, I was the good daughter, the easy one, the one who didn't make waves, the one who absorbed disappointment and betrayal and neglect and just kept going. I'm done with that. I'm done pretending I don't need love just because I'm strong. I'm done accepting crumbs, just because I can survive on them. I'm done being quiet while people who are supposed to love me treat me like I don't matter. The $240,000 is sitting in an account. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. Maybe I'll buy a small place near the ocean. Maybe I'll travel. Maybe I'll donate it all and start over with nothing but my own dignity. What I won't do is give it to people who never valued me in the first place. Outrow direct address 2 VIWRS. If you're watching this, maybe you see yourself in my story. Maybe you're the responsible one too, the one who always shows up, the one who gets taken for granted because you're strong enough to handle it. Maybe your family has a golden child, and you're not it. Maybe you've spent your whole life wondering why you're not enough, even though you do everything right. I want you to hear this. It's not your fault. You are not too independent to deserve love. You are not too strong to need support. You are not too fine to matter. The people who treat you like you don't need them, who take from you and give to others, are not confused. They're not making mistakes. They know exactly what they're doing. And you don't owe them silence. You don't owe them peace. You don't owe them your inheritance, your money, your time, or your heart. What you owe yourself is the truth, and the courage to speak it, even when it costs you the people you thought you needed. I lost my mother. I lost my sister. I lost the house my father wanted me to have. But I found something better. I found my worth. And no one can take that from me ever again. If you're in a situation like mine, please hear me. You deserve better, and it's not too late to fight for it. Set the boundaries. Tell the truth. Let the family fall apart if it has to. Because a family that only works when you stay silent isn't a family. It's a cage. And you deserve to be free.